This upcoming action game has a lot of people excited after being quiet for ages. In a year that is not lacking in action games or action RPGs, Stellar Blade does stand out as one with a bunch of potential with what looks to be an awesome combat system, taking inspiration from some of our favorite action games. One of the coolest recent reveals about the game is that we finally have a release date after the latest trailer, and we now know that the game will be releasing on April 26th of 2024 this year. So let's go through all of the new info about this surprising action game, and you can tell us what you're thinking about it down below. As mentioned previously, Stellar Blade will be releasing on April 26th of 2024 and will be a PlayStation exclusive from a Korean studio called Shift Up, and PlayStation Studios is actually publishing the game. The game was meant to be released in 2023, but was delayed to this new release date due to some polishing that they wanted to add. We know that this is a third-person action game where players will need to master the combat with precise actions and through learning the attacks of their enemies. It's a brand new IP, so we don't blame you for not knowing anything about the world or its setting, but we can catch you up on that, so let's go through it before we get into all of the cool gameplay stuff. In the near future, humanity is driven from Earth after losing a war against alien invaders called Naytiba. To reclaim the Earth, the protagonist Eve and her squad are deployed from the colony to fight the Naytiba and take back Earth. Eventually, Eve meets a survivor named Adam who takes her to Xion. This is the last human surviving city on Earth. Eve then makes contact with the Elder Orcal and establishes relationships with the residents of Xion in order to further her mission to save Earth. The story seems like it's going to be pretty lengthy for an action game, as according to interviews, the developers have said that the playtime is expected to be around 25 hours for the main story and 30 to 50 hours if you include all of the collection elements. Throughout the game, players will have the option to set up camp in various locations, which will serve as a means to enhance Eve's abilities and recuperate, which is really cool and will be interesting to see what abilities we can get, as we've already seen a few of them, and from what we've seen in those trailers, they are looking pretty awesome, such as her arm turning into a cannon. We can also see in the latest trailers that players will be able to unlock new skills, as well as being able to upgrade their equipment. However, the game's narrative expands into a vast semi-open world region known as the Wasteland and the Great Desert. These are areas that are focused on exploration, and you will be able to do quests like collecting hypercells, which is a critical element in her mission to revive the city of Sion and return it to its former glory. The devs are actually calling the game a half-open world internally, as it has a blend of a more linear story-driven narrative and open-world exploration. In these open areas, one of the things you can do is quests that will aid the village, and the more of these you complete will impact how many people live in the village, which is pretty cool to see, as it seems you'll get access to do more things if more people are in the village. But switching to the gameplay specifically, combat is a major focus of the game, and developers have said that the game will be for anyone who enjoys action games, and they have warned that the game will not be easy, but will support difficulty adjustment and support functions for those in need of it if they want to just enjoy the story comfortably. One of the key parts of the combat will be learning your enemy's movesets though, and with that comes figuring out the windows of opportunity to do attacks, and then playing more defensively outside of that with things like parrying. There seems to be resources tied to these actions as well, because during interviews they were asked, when parrying or performing finishing touches, you could see the numbers indicated as BE or BU decreasing or increasing, and they asked, how does this gauge work? The devs replied that the gauge is actually your beta energy and beta gauge. This is energy that will fill up when parrying or attacking, and depending on this energy, you can then use beta skills that will be strengthened in the skill tree. Then you have the burst gauge, which is another gauge that will fill up when a boss or enemy uses a special skill and a color will appear on the screen, and you must respond accordingly or just do an evasion. And then you will use this gauge up to execute skills after doing a parry or evasion. Something that a lot of people have commented on the latest trailer is just how stylish the main character Eve is, and the developers have included this as part of the exploration gameplay, as we can go about and collect a number of different outfits for Eve to wear, and these won't have stats tied to them, so you can just wear what you want. The devs did go into more detail on this, saying they don't want people to only wear certain clothes, so there's no relationship between clothes and performance. Since the acquisition route varies depending on the costume, finding different parts will make collecting and exploring more fun. For reference, there are about 20 to 30 different types of costumes that will appear in the game, and they are all acquired through in-game play rather than through separate payment. And we for one absolutely love to hear that none of this content is locked behind a paywall. If you are wondering about post-launch support though, things like content updates or post-launch DLC, the devs have said that they are focusing on the main game first, but it is something that they will be looking to in the future. The game is looking better and better the more we see of it. Currently, we are pretty excited for this one as the combat in particular looks super fun and engaging, so hopefully the game is polished and fun when it finally releases. We're going to leave you guys with the latest trailer for the game, and then you can tell us what you think of it down below.
Welcome to the world of Stellar Blade. The story begins on post-apocalyptic Earth, where a mysterious enemy called the Naytiba has forced the human race to flee to an off-world colony. Players will take control of Eve, a member of the 7th Airborne Squad. Her mission is to save the planet by defeating the Elder Naytiba.
All we must do is complete the mission.
While most of the 7th Airborne Squad is lost during their descent from the colony, Eve soon meets 2 new companions. Adam, born on Earth, is in pursuit of an energy source called Hypercell.
Make sure to stay cautious. It's where the Alpha Naytiba is.
So this must be ADOS 7.
Lily, a member of the 5th Airborne Squad, provides engineering support.
Lily Artemis II. Then I can be your engineering support.
She puts her technical knowledge to use by upgrading Eve's equipment throughout the game.
Here, done.
Something does feel different.
This is Zion, a city built underneath the wasteland by the last human survivors on Earth.
A whole city underneath the wasteland.
Eve is called Angel by the survivors and is an object of both awe and fear.
I'm not selling anything to you.
They'll seem a bit wary at first, but will gradually loosen up as Eve shows a commitment to rebuilding the city.
Hello, Angel. How are you?
I see we have guests.
I can't believe the angel is here.
The survivors will sometimes ask Eve for help.
Please save my younger sister!
Wait right here.
Their requests will often lead her to the wasteland and the Great Desert. This place has been overrun by Naytibas and malfunctioning machines and robots.
A supply camp in a place like this.
You'll occasionally find supply stations set up by previous airborne squads. At each camp, Eve can purchase various consumable items, acquire new skills, upgrade equipment, and more. She can also take a well-deserved break to restore her health. Eve will often encounter people in need and other non-human beings who may need her help.
Request your assistance.
Whether to assist or ignore them is entirely up to the player. On her journey to defeat the Elder Naytiba, Eve will sometimes encounter hostile survivors. Or something worse.
Eve, what are you going to do after you defeat the Alpha Naytiba?
All Airborne Squad members exist for one sole purpose.
You mean the extinction of all Naytibas, right? To think that the point of your existence is to snuff out another species. It is not an easy fight.
It's fine. I can do this alone.
It won't be easy.
Angel, that's the unofficial name for members of the Eve Airborne Squad.
I can feel the hatred, but I cannot feel the source.
I will find it, and I will make it pay.
Open it! It's windy!
No more lights to blind my eyes. Choose what you lose.
To collapse!
And now take up the
The drone is different.
This is no longer the drone you knew.
so close to the goal, headed to light that I will hold. Now it's time. Together was love. Show me how stars fall down and still shine bright. Wherever you go, then I'll be your side, so that we can see through the night. I'll keep through our time.
PlayStation